Today I am going to present about the breakfast in children in ASEAN. So in my presentation, I'm going to talk about breakfast of children around ASEAN country. Why breakfast is important. I present some examples of good breakfast, some ideas about and research about breakfast and dairy, the importance of breakfast and the impact of breakfast skipping, and several studies about breakfast in children in an Asia country. Now we take a tour around ASEAN countries to see the typical children breakfast. So in Thailand, children usually eat khao tom. It's a rice soup mixed with pork and some other Thai vegetable and spices. Pho is common rice noodles in Vietnam. It's topping with the beef or chicken and some string onions and herbs. In Indonesia, children eat fried rice. They call it nasi goreng, and in Malaysia, children eat fatty rice named nasi lemak. Philippines, Myanmar, and Laos also has some different kind of breakfast for children, but it's rice based. So it's clear that most important staple food to provide energy for children in Asia country is rice. So why is breakfast is important? Breakfast is defined as the first meals of the day eaten within 2 hours waking from the night sleep and before 10 a.m. and should contain about 30 to 35% of total energy of the day. Breakfast skip is an activity that ignores the meal in the morning before start school works. So we think that there are 3 qualities that breakfast should include. The first is nutrient-rich. Breakfast contain nutrient-dense profile are able to supply children body with enough energy for class, and it should be added more fruits and vegetables to provide essential vitamins and minerals. Glycemic index. Food with low glycemic index include complex carbohydrates are ideal because they cause slower and smaller rise in blood sugar levels. And third is the non-greasy. That means a healthy breakfast should make children's body feel full and energetic for longer without loading up with sugar or unhealthy fat. So these will bring benefits of encouraging healthy eating, balance blood sugar, kickstart body metabolism, boost energy levels, promote health, and stimulate the brain. And when support for physical activities, mental activities, and learning ability of children in school. Here is an example of good breakfast. According to USDA guidelines in 2019, good breakfast should contain portions from different food groups, such as meal, fruit, or vegetable and cereals. The National Institute of Nutrition Vietnam also recommend healthy breakfast should include portions from 4 food groups that provide carbohydrates, protein, fat, micronutrients, and fiber. Food diversification have to improve appetite and provide more nutrients conducive for children's health. So you can see here 4 different menus that we recommend for children in Vietnam. 3 menus including liquid milk and yogurt. Only menu 4 only provide rice, some kind of poppet, and fruits as well. So about breakfast and dairy, milk and dairy contribute to meet nutrient recommendation, protect against the most prevalent chronic diseases. And the most recent evidence suggested that intake of milk and dairy product was associated with reduced risk of childhood obesity. Intake of dairy product was shown to improve body composition and facilitate weight loss during energy restriction. In addition, intake of milk and dairy products was associated with neuro or reduced risk of type 2 diabetes and reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, particularly stroke. Furthermore, the evidence suggests that the beneficial effect of milk and dairy products intake on bone mineral density, but no association with risk of bone fractures. So you can see here the important breakfast impact on 5 different aspects. First is mobility factors. Level of breakfast consumption was significantly associated with lower risk of insulin resistance, as well as other risk factors for metabolic syndromes. Adolescents who regularly consume breakfast has higher cardiorespiratory fitness and lower total adiposity. Significant effect of breakfast consumption on blood lipid levels, blood pressure, or insulin resistance were found in overweight and obese male. Irregular breakfast eating is associated with headache. About the cognitive performance, eating breakfast have particularly beneficial effects when study participants face more cognitive demanding tasks. Research found that breakfast consumption improved response time measure with Sternberg paradigm, a memory scanning task for short-term memory. Breakfast eaters show lower response speed variability. Eating breakfast was one of the 12 significant predictors of cell rate health measures. Stress, anxiety, and depression was associated with skipping breakfast. Also, mental health may influence whether a person consumes breakfast or not. Breakfast consumption is linked to increased well-being. About the academic achievement, positive association between breakfast consumption and other academic achievement. The implications of skipping breakfast on mental distress and academic achievement was stronger for boys than girls. Dietary behavior overall was associated with higher academic achievement, but that breakfast was only significantly associated with the domain writing. Here we see the impact of skipping breakfast. Breakfast skipping was significantly more likely increase in waist to height ratio, weight and BMI, and more highly associated with abdominal obesity. Breakfast skipping was greater influence to the children body, particularly body mass index, those who omit breakfast with less satiety, increase appetite, and having large portion at subsequent meals. Consequently, total energy density higher than breakfast eater. Breakfast skipping will lead children to adverse health outcome, especially weight gain. Conversely, breakfast consumption is a way to ensure that they meet their daily nutrients and energy intakes. Here we go to several children breakfast survey in some ASEAN countries. First, in Thailand, they survey in Bangkok 1,020 parents of the children from grades 1 to 6, and they found that the earlier parent wake up, the higher the chance of children to have a breakfast. 83 of parents have good knowledge of breakfast goodness. 79 of children has breakfast daily, and only 1% never had breakfast daily. Frequency of breakfast consumption tend to decrease as children growing up, and key barriers of keeping breakfast is lack of time, wake up late, no time for breakfast preparation. Parents express that without breakfast, children will be hunger, moodiness, and inability to concentrate in class. Here is a survey for children breakfast first in Malaysia. 333 children aged from 6 and 12 years old was informed. Prevalence of breakfast skipping is 11.7%. Prevalence of overweight and obesity was higher among breakfast skipper compared to regular breakfast eater. Only boys who skip breakfast had a higher mean BMI for Z score among breakfast skipper than regular breakfast eater. Here's a survey in Indonesia. 2,629 children aged from 2 to 12.9 years old was informed. The breakfast was defined as very inadequate or adequate. Breakfast also defined as good if skip one or more components of energy, protein, vitamins and minerals, and good if breakfast provide energy, protein, and vitamin and minerals. So 31.6% of children have adequate breakfast consumption, 21.6% having good breakfast, and only 9.2% of children have adequate and good quality breakfast. Here's a survey in Vietnam that conducted in 2 big cities, Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, with 285 elementary school students. So the rate of skipping breakfast is 9.4%. An average day of skipping breakfast per week is 2.8 days. The rate of breakfast consumption of liquid 3 times per week is 24.8%, and the consumption of yogurt 3 times per week is 31.3%. The main foods for breakfast of children in Vietnam is noodle, rice, sticky rice, bread, rice porridge. The ratio of animal plant protein in breakfast is 61.5%. So in conclusion, we may say that the main food to provide energy in breakfast of children in ASEAN country is rice, following by other foods as noodle, bread. Regular breakfast eating habit have to improve health and provide energy for home morning school work and support good appetite and spirits in whole day for children. Thank you for your attention.